With over 20 years experience in the technology field, serving Fortune 500 and small companies alike, he holds 2 degrees and multiple certifications.
Cybersecurity expert
Will Nobles.
Boy, has he had success in his life.
Since I've started my company, I've dedicated myself in helping my clients protect the integrity of their data.
The CEO of Vector Choice Technology Solutions. Please welcome Mr. Will Nobles.
People don't get risk that's out there. Don't be careless with your technology. Your employees are your #1 security risk that you have.
Someone clicks on a link, spreads across the network, and encrypts the data on that network.
When we're sitting down with a client for the first time, one of the things we're looking at is what are they doing today to protect themselves against cyber attacks?
Just because you're a small firm or you don't have a lot of money, don't think that someone's not trying to hack you. Everybody is vulnerable.
Go into the dark web, look and see of your employees what passwords are out there.
What we do is partner humanity with technology.
Good morning. Good morning. It's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. Welcome. Thank you for joining. This is our last webinar of the COVID-19 virus. And, I wanted to at least do about 4 or 5 weeks now. I think I've been doing webinars on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And so we're ending this webinar on a high note, talking about leadership and business coaching, as well as we're going to be talking about SD-WAN. I know that's technical, and some of you guys probably have never heard that, but I encourage you to stay on, and definitely is going to help your business. So a little bit about me. I've covered this 100,000 times, and something that I'm sharing things that are not on the screen, something that you don't know about me. Next week, I will be going to Nashville. And I will be doing a presentation in front of about 2,500 people. I'm going to be in a studio, so I'm going to be safe, but I'll be in a studio. And normally these 2,500 people would be at the convention with me, but I'm actually going to be in studio where everybody's going to be watching online like we're doing now. And we're going to be talking about, I'm going to be sharing how I grew my company in 2019. I was picked the top 5 from Robin Robbins' Technology Marketing Toolkit. So the top 5 in the MSP arena, which is all across the United States and the world, the EU and Australia. And I was picked for the top 5, and I'll be presenting for 15 minutes, and everybody gets to vote. And hopefully, if I win, I bring home a brand new $160,000 Aston Martin next weekend. So knock on wood. So that's something about me you don't know. I'll be presenting to hopefully win a Aston Martin come next weekend. So the agenda today, who's Vector? I'm going to cover that real quick. The recap of the past webinars, our special guests, SD-WAN, and any questions. At any time, if you have any questions to ask, feel free to put it in the Q&A on Facebook. Please put it on the chat, and we'll get to you. Vector Choice, we have 4 offices in the United States. We have Atlanta, North Carolina, DC, and Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We do work internationally. We have clients in the UK and Netherlands, and we've done work in Costa Rica and the Dominican Republic. And we do a lot of compliance-y work. So no matter where your business is, no matter what kind of business you are, we can actually help you from a technology aspect. Again, this is not a sales call. This is never meant to be a sales webinar for Vector Choice. It is meant to educate you, but at the same time, I want to at least let you know what we're capable of doing. So here are the things that we are capable of doing. You see CIO services. I haven't really talked a lot about that when on these webinars, but CIO services is we can act as your CIO, just like your outsourced CFO. We can act as your CIO for your company and help you from a strategy standpoint for your budgeting for your technology. So if you're interested in this webinar and past webinars, if you would like to go to vectorchoice.com/work-from-home, you'll see all the webinars. This webinar will be uploaded in the next 24 hours, and you'll be able to review this one as well. So go there. It's got a lot of good information if you want to learn about Zoom, Teams, Microsoft Teams or Office 365 or phone hosting. All of these things, what I've done is to help you, educate you from working from home and being efficient while you're working from home. All righty. So we've got a special guest, Iris Grimm, and thank you so much for coming on with us.
Thank you, Will, for having me.
So I'm going to leave your information here for a second, and then I'm going to go ahead and close the webinar so we can do a full screen of both of us, and I'll stop sharing here. And so we can see that everybody can see both of us. But thank you, and I'll pop that information back up after we're finished here. But thank you for joining, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. It is Friday. I have been trying to work this week on business, but at the same time, I have been trying to put a retaining wall in my backyard. So I've been running a excavator and a bobcat all week. So a little different than wearing a suit on a webinar.
I hear you, but if you want to, we can talk about the benefits of that as well, how this can help you in your leadership role.
Sure, sure. We'll definitely get into that. So Iris, and so everybody to introduce her, she helps people and companies on their leadership team and coaching them how to be better business owners or leaders in their business. So let's talk about how do you help your clients?
As you just stated it beautifully. I mean, I help clients by bringing out the best of them. In other words, I help them get more insights from themselves, but then also I bring another perspective into their experience and open them up to new possibilities that they may oftentimes cannot see. Because, as humans, we tend to walk through life with certain blinders. We have certain beliefs or thoughts that sometimes get created early on in our childhood or, in the first years of business or work experience. And what we as humans tend to do is we rarely take these blinders off. And so that is how oftentimes people can get stuck in their life or in their business. And that is really one of the reasons why people tend to work with coaches, whether it is leadership coach, business coach, life coach, because they are stuck. They are at a loss. In business, it can be that there's a lot of turnover in the business. They don't know why. It can be that a business owner built a business or started a business because they wanted to have more freedom, but then ended up becoming the slave of the business, right? And they just can't figure out how to get out of that.
Okay.
So that is one situation.
Okay. So how do you see your clients today and the leadership team pivoting with their employees and their leadership style with everybody working from home?
So it's an interesting thing because, it depends on each and every individual. I mean, obviously with people working from home, the leadership style of a leader has to adjust for the team now not being physically present. That means, in other words, they have to switch their communication. They definitely also, with Zoom, it's easier to pick up body language, but especially when they are more on the phone, they have to have a greater sense of social awareness to be able to communicate with their team more effectively. But it also requires that they are engaging with engaging their team in a different kind of way. Also because when people are working from home, distractions are greater. The workplace situation is not ideal, right? Maybe they are working out of a second bedroom, or they are working in the dining area. So these are all challenges that people have to adapt to.
Yeah. Have you seen, do you think interacting via a video chat is beneficial to keep that face-to-face interaction? Because one of the things, we've been working from home, Vector Choice, for 4.5 years. So this was nothing new to us. So we were very used to this, and especially having 4 locations. What we do, we use Teams to communicate back and forth, and we use video. So 2 things we don't do. We don't email internally anymore. If we're copied with a client, yes, but if it's communication with just a team, we're communicating via Teams or chat. And then we also, only time we talk, we don't pick up the phone and actually talk to each other. We do a video chat so we can see that interaction and the face expressions and stuff. Do you think that's beneficial for companies with everybody working from home, is to get away from picking up the phone and having that conversation, but having a video conversation?
I believe so, and the one reason really is because, as you know, many people always feel short of time and they like to task things, right?
Yeah.
So using video and connecting with someone through video chat or through Zoom is a great way to keep people engaged, because if somebody then suddenly sits and always looks down on the keyboard, you know that maybe they are not paying as much attention, or they are taking way more notes than necessary. So
Yeah.
again, in that way, Zoom or video is an accountability tool for people to really stay focused on in the presentation.
Yeah, I agree. I catch myself when someone actually calls me on my cell phone or my office phone. I catch myself drifting to other things because I feel like they don't got my full attention. Like right now, you have my full attention, and when I'm on the phone, just because I'm so used to this, that I start drifting to something else.
Yeah.
Believe me, my wife would tell you that I don't pay attention.
Yeah, right. It's a discipline, right? But then at the same time, it's also a gift to the other person, right? Because they're giving their time to you. They are doing their best to communicate with you, and so in that way, it's really giving them that gift back by giving them your presence and attention. And that is something that people rarely do, or where people really miss out in relationships with spouses, right? As well as in relationships with employees or even customers, because they can pick it up subconsciously. Not necessarily saying, oh, okay, I don't think he's listening to me, but the body still can pick these things up subconsciously.
Yep. Now, let me, question of where do you see, with everybody working from home, how have you seen your clients change a little bit and how you interact with your clients? Because you go a lot of face-to-face and that personal interaction when you're with the client, right? So, and you get that feedback. You don't. Okay.
So I work with most of my clients either through Zoom or telephone.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
yeah, if I meet with a client the very first time, or when I do have what is called a VIP day with them or a kickoff day, that is when I meet with them in person. But for the rest of the time, I meet with them via Zoom or on the telephone. And one of the reasons is just because it cuts down on traffic time. Yep. And at the same time, I have clients all over the country. So in that way, I'm able to work with anybody, anywhere. So Zoom is very familiar to me. And in that way, my work really has not changed at all.
Okay. So, and that's good to hear, because, I've got clients, I've got, prospects, clients, and also people on Facebook right now that are in North Carolina, Georgia, all over the place. So good to hear that you can service and no matter where they're at. So great. Now you teased me a little bit about me working in the backyard and running heavy equipment. Now, when I ran heavy equipment in high school, working on a farm, and then I ran heavy equipment in a mine before I went to college. So it's sort of a relief to me, even though people would consider it hard work. To me, this is hard work. Putting on a smile, putting on a suit, the technical aspect of what I do, and running a business is hard work. Going out and running a piece of heavy equipment and a shovel is relaxing to me, which is crazy. You teased me a little bit. So how do you think that helps build my leadership?
So here is how humans tend to work. They have a problem, or they have a situation where they want to create some solutions, and they put a lot of thinking into the problem, or they put a lot of time into the solution, trying to think things through, right? And what happens is the mind gets very busy. Yep. The thinking just takes over into the point of, and I always like to use the analogy of a snow globe. When you have a snow globe and you have the little particles, the snow particles, right? And you're shaking that snow globe up, the water in the snow globe becomes very milky.
Yep.
Meaning there is really no clarity. And that is what people tend to do when they are trying to create a solution or try to solve a problem. They create a lot of thinking, which is like these little particles in the snow globe, just getting shook up.
Yeah.
And there's no clarity. But what tends to happen is when you say, all right, this is the problem that I have. I'd like to create a solution. And then you say, I'm going to take a time off and I'm going to go outside in my backyard and I'm going to use my shovel and I'm just letting go of that problem. I'm allowing my subconscious to figure things out while I'm busy digging a hole in the backyard.
Okay.
Many times what happens is while you're digging, while you're doing some mindless work, an answer for your problem can pop into your mind that you would not be able to listen if all of those thoughts kept on swirling. That's why many times people say the best solution comes when I take a shower. Why? Because they take their mind off, right? Yep. They're letting their mind, their thoughts settle so that new answers can pop in from anywhere.
And I thought I was just doing that work to get away from my work I really need to do.
No, it's really, I mean, this is really the best thing one can do is if you are stuck with something, if you have a problem, if you are having a situation, a task where you are so focused on it and you are like, the best thing is to either take a nap, let it go, put it to the side, take a nap, engage in a hobby or do something. And I mean, the big companies, Google, Facebook, they figured it out. They have the pool tables and the ping pong tables and all of that in their offices because they know when their staff takes these kind of breaks, when they are doing something mindless, when they get their mind off the task and get themselves a break, when they come back, their creativity is fresh.
Creative, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's I never thought about why Google and some of the Facebook and some of the bigger companies do that. But that's definitely a good point there.
Yeah.
So how do you manage your expectations with your clients on what your deliverables are and when you start with a client, maybe a two-phase question here. When you start with a client, where do you start at? I mean, where do you start the coaching process?
Okay. All right. So let me start with the first one, expectations. I have no expectations for clients. And here's why. And expectations create suffering. Okay. So in other words, if I have expectation for somebody else that they can't meet, I'm the one who is suffering and is disappointed. Yeah. So therefore, I recommend all of my clients is let go of expectations of people, like for your staff, for example. Instead, build agreements with your people or with your clients, right? So here's the difference. Expectations happen in your brain. I want this person to do X by, let's say, let's use this example. I want Logan to get this project done by Monday, 10 o'clock, right? It's an expectation. You say, hey, Logan, here's this project. Can you get this done? You walk away, you say, okay, I expect that she's going to get it done by Monday. Well, Monday may come and you say, hey, Logan, did you get it done? She says, no, I had this and that and all of these other things, right? And so you are disappointed in her and say, oh, she did not take this seriously.
Yeah.
Versus for you to say, hey, Logan, here is this project that I need to get done. By when can you get it done? Logan will tell you, I have this task to do and that task to do and that task to do. Let me look in my calendar. I may have time to get it done on Tuesday. So what about Tuesday at 5 o'clock? You say, no, I need to get it done by Monday at noon. She says, well, if we look at all of these different other projects, that means which one do I have to take off my table so that I can get that one done? Yep. These are agreements. Agreements happen between people versus expectations tend to happen only in your own head.
I think you're a little bug in my house because listening, because that happens all the time. I say, can you get it done Monday, and it doesn't happen. So
but you see, that's why I also always say to my clients, when we start working together and we are working on you becoming a better leader in your business, you automatically also become a better partner in your or spouse in your personal life, or even a better parent. Because what applies to people in business and your staff applies to your spouse or to your kids, because people are people, right?
Yep.
So in that way, their whole life tends to shift.
Cool. So what else would you like to share with the audience on how you help make better leaders?
So let me go back to your second question, because you also
yes.
asked, how do I tend to work with people? So again, I have no expectations. What I do is I ask them really, what is something that you want to create in your business or in your life that will blow your mind? That is something that really fills up your heart, that makes you so excited about life that you can't wait to get up in the morning. So in other words, I help people create a goal or an outcome that we can focus on together, that they want to accomplish in the time while I'm working with them. And then we typically start out by really taking an inventory of their entire life. So in other words, even though someone says, I want to become a better leader, or I want to take my business to the next level, or I just experienced really a big layoff time in my business, and everybody is now afraid and not really engaged, and I need to step up as a leader. We will look at what their leadership skills look like, and we take an inventory of that. But then at the same time, we also will look at some of these things we also will include their personal life, because how you do anything is how you do everything, right?
Yep.
And if somebody's, for example, personal life, if there is something that is too stressful in that area, it has an impact of how they are showing up in their business, right? Yep. And not only that, again, we can use both areas of life and simultaneously are making progress there. And then once we have identified that, then it's really building up a strategy and how they can get from where they currently are to where they want to go.
Yeah. Okay. That definitely makes sense.
Okay.
Because I've seen where I've been stressed personally, and which it flowed to the company, and so yeah, I definitely can see that concept for sure.
Yeah.
So
and just to say something, and the focus really there is on upgrading your operating system, right? Because when you look at, I always like to use a technology analogy, and considering that you have technical people on your webinar, is to say it's really about upgrading you maybe from Windows 7 to Windows 10.
Yeah. So
that, the applications of business, being a leader or being a better programmer, which is like Microsoft 365 or something, right, is working better.
Yeah. Okay. No, that definitely makes sense. So final thoughts on developing what maybe 2 or 3 things that makes a great leader.
What makes a great leader is an equal commitment to results and relationships, and never compromising one for the other. So in other words, if a leader realizes that their job is to serve their team and inspire them to their best performance, in other words, see their team as their internal customers and treat them the same way as they want their team to treat their external customers, the results of the company automatically will show up, because your team will be happy and will engage better and have a greater performance, as well as your customers will be happy with the products and the services that you provide.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much. Appreciate any additional thoughts that you want to share before, and I'm gonna throw your information back up here, and if I can get my PowerPoint. Let's see. There we go. I really need a audiovisual person to be controlling this for me. So everyone, Irish's information is here, her phone number, email address, her website as well. So any final thoughts for us before we go?
I would say the only final thought I have for leaders is one thing that is very important for them is to accept what is, and accept that a new normal is going to develop. And at the same time, what they also need to focus on is less on the media. I mean, we have to stay informed, but then at the same time, the more we tend to be addicted to the news, which these days are not always positive, the more someone gets stuck in the so-called fight and flight mode, and the less creative they are, and the more they get easily triggered, emotionally triggered. So really what is important is for leaders to be more conscious of what kind of information they feed their mind so that they can be their best, so that they can best support their team.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Well,
Thank you for having me, Will.
Yeah, thank you for being on. Everyone, I'm going to let her go here, and we're going to go switch over and start talking about some technical stuff. I'm going to try not to get too technical in the conversation here, and we're going to be talking about, but Iris, thank you so much for coming on. If you guys want to reach out to her, her phone number and information was on this PowerPoint, also will be on the website. So we're going to be talking about SD-WAN, and I'm going to turn this off because there's no reason for you to look at the word SD-WAN. So let's talk about what is the WAN, okay? So one, the LAN is your network. So in your office, when you're in your office, firewall behind your firewall back to your network and everything, that is your LAN, L-A-N. Your WAN or the WAN is anything that is past the from the internet or your firewall, the internet provider out, okay? So that is the WAN. So just wanted to define that and so everybody understands that. And again, I don't want to go super technical because obviously there's not a lot of technical people on this call, the webinar and Facebook, but I know there is some as well. So I'm going to go very basic level of all this. If you want to know more about this, please put some questions in the Q&A and I can definitely help you. Now, SD-WAN. So really, and when you've got multiple offices and you're trying to connect, used to you would connect all the offices together by what either called a point-to-point connection or MPLS or a site-to-site VPN, okay? And some of those are still used today, and it's not a problem if you're using those. With MPLS, what it does, you can control the traffic. So it means you can have your voice traffic higher priority than your data. But that's really all you're controlling IPs and the bandwidth. That's really all you can control with MPLS. Site-to-site VPNs, you can't really control. The site-to-site gives you a virtual connection between the two locations, but you can't really control the traffic. Once it leaves the site A and goes to site B, that traffic is all over the internet, and so there's no controlling the traffic and from an IP standpoint or an application standpoint. SD-WAN, where it's going to help you as a business, and I know I went really technical there, but then I'm going to step back and talk about the business aspects of it. If you have multiple locations, or you even have a single location these days, because a lot of your applications have gone to the cloud, if that is Workday, Office 365, Salesforce, Dropbox, any kind of web application, CRM systems, ERP systems are all cloud-based these days. And where SD-WAN comes in, it can help throttle the traffic and the application. So on a firewall that's capable of doing SD-WAN, or once it goes into the SD-WAN world, we can actually say, I want to give this application priority over everything else, or I can give this application priority over this, and you can weight the applications inside the system. So in the old days, you would have subsites, you would have a main headquarters or a data center, and all your locations would connect to that data center through the MPLS, and then you would go out to the internet from that main location. What happens with that is it slows down the response speed, especially for cloud-based applications, and so there's no reason to do that anymore. Each location can still maintain the security and go out through the internet from its location, or let's say your Office A or Office B. And so if I want to get to Salesforce from Office A, I'm going to go straight to Salesforce, but I can control the performance of that website by using SD-WAN. That's really the high level as I can go to explain it. It's going to help performance. It's going to take some of your old technology out of connecting to a main headquarters or a main data center, and it's going to give you the ability to now go straight to the web-based application. Also, what it can do for you is, let's say that you have an Office A and you have Office B, and you want to have dual internet, okay? The firewalls that are capable of doing SD-WAN, you can actually have two internet providers going into that firewall, and they can do what's called active-passive or active-active failover to the internet. So it fails over to the internet, the second internet provider, and you don't skip a beat. So that's a nice thing about it as well. And that SD-WAN applications or whatever will fail over to the secondary backup circuit. So that's as non-technical as I can get with what SD-WAN is. I just wanted to really cover that with you guys real fast. SD-WAN can run over 4G or the light like Verizon, LTE connection and stuff like that. So that's something that you can do with SD-WAN. Now, let's talk about how this ties in working from home. Now, let's say that you're working from home. Your employees are going to have their own internet speeds of what they get, whatever they have for their home service. Well, what we do for our employees, we actually put a small Meraki firewall at their house that segments the work traffic, one from a security standpoint from their home use, but at the same time, we can control with that firewall what applications we want to take over the majority of the bandwidth to make sure that the tools that they're using working from home is using the optimal speed based on the application. So that's where SD-WAN can come into the aspect of working from home. And that's really why I wanted to share that, and why this was one of the last conversations and last webinars of this series, because it is very technical. If you want to know more about this or would like to implement this in your company, please feel free to reach out. Again, I did not go very technical on this as much as you probably think I did. There's a lot of other technical aspects of SD-WAN that I did not dive into, but I wanted to at least give you a little tease on what SD-WAN is. So this is the end. It is Friday. It's the last webinar of this series. I am so thankful for the people that have joined. Some have joined every single time, and some have joined a few times. And friends and family on Facebook, and as well as clients on Facebook have joined. So I want to, bring this back up. We have some free services that we're giving away. We're giving the Big Green Egg. We're doing a drawing, so May 30th is when that's up, and we'll be doing the drawing after that. That's a referral. If you refer a business to us, just put it on that website and fill it in, and we will give the contact a call, but you will get entered in a drawing for that. We're also, if you're a client, if you want your employees to have a free home service, we're putting our monitoring, backup, and antivirus to help protect your business when while they're working from home. And then also, if you would like to sign up with us as a new client, we're giving the first 60 days away for free. I can't believe it. Georgia now has said they're opening up things. So they opened up hair places, gyms today. So I'm actually getting a haircut at 1 o'clock today. Yes, I'm going to be safe. I'm going to wear a mask, but I'm getting a haircut. I think it's been like 6 weeks. It's driving me crazy. So be safe out there. I know some states, I think there's like 4 states today that started opening up things. Georgia on Monday will be opening up restaurants. So please stay safe as possible. Thank you so much for joining. We were going to be doing some more webinars, but what I'm probably going to do is cut it back to maybe 2 or 3 a month. that we'll be doing, and we'll be having special guests on as for that as well. If you would be interested as a business owner or a business like to come on and promote your business on one of my webinars, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is wnobles@vectorchoice.com. This webinar will be uploaded with the rest. You can go back and watch all the webinars if you would like. Thank you so much. Stay safe. Try to stay at home as much as possible, and God bless. Have a wonderful weekend.